many of you have ever been lied to? Rampant, right? Except no one wants to be a liar. Partner with one, hire one, give birth to one, vote for one. But welcome to humankind. Only it turns out we're not so kind, or happy, or healthy. What if the real reason 93.3 million of us are affected by obesity, 60 million of us have insomnia, and 13% of us are on antidepressants after the age of 12? What if the real reason isn't just the high fructose corn syrup, the gluten, the third glass of wine we're having, but personal pollution? Not emissions, omissions. In a study at UMass, scientists discovered that 60% of us tell at least one lie in the first 10 minutes of a conversation. And for those that admitted lying, it was really more like 2 or 3 lies in that time period. And we start young. Babies fake cry. I've, of course, noticed it in my own children. As soon as my littlest one could talk, she could say, "I didn't do it," when she was standing right in front of it. Yeah, so whether it's to get out of trouble or to get another cookie from dad when mom has already said no, we all lie. And we say we lie in order not to hurt others, but the truth is, we lie to get what we want. Now, don't take this too personally. We're not the only ones who lie. Wait for it. Pigeons lie too. Yeah. In a study at UPenn and Harvard, scientists taught pigeons to communicate information about hidden colors. When red was more generously rewarded than other colors, the birds passed through a phase where they lied, reporting another color as red. So you see, even pigeons will lie for a cookie. Lying is so popular. You'd think there'd be a whole section on it in the bookstore. Nope, I checked. It's like we just don't want to confront how much we lie. But I'm going to ask you to do just that. So just take a moment now to consider your own worst lie. And think about how it's affected you, even if you told it years ago. If you're having trouble locating yours, I'm going to help. I've been a coach with Handel Group for the last 15 years. That's an executive life coaching company that teaches real life education at places like MIT, Stanford School of Business, Columbia, and with thousands of corporate and personal clients. And we have gotten super technical about this. We have figured out 7 main categories of lying. So, as I go through the list, see if any are familiar to you, and not to worry, my greatest hits will be coming shortly. Something to look forward to. This part gets squirmy. Number 1, outright lying. I never got your text. You've heard that one. 2, lying by omission. No one asked, so you didn't tell. I mean, you never want to hurt their feelings. That's why they can't see your phone, or your browser history, or your EasyPass bill. Number 3, lying by exaggeration. You told your boss the meeting went amazing. Truth is, even you were bored at your presentation. Number 4, lying by under-exaggeration. Your partner drinks himself to sleep nightly. You make light of it. Number 5, lying by misrepresenting a story. Yeah, I'll be there in 10 minutes. Meanwhile, you just dialed up your Uber. It's not even there yet. Number 6, lying by avoiding confrontation. That's when you don't want to mess up a relationship. Like, you're never going to bring up your father's affair, even though you're still holding it against him, because you could almost look him in the eye again. And number 7, lying by keeping secrets you're taking to the grave with you. These are lies that are so upsetting or embarrassing to you, you're never going to tell anyone. Like, no one needs to know about your addiction to Pornhub. Billion-dollar industry, folks. Yeah. All right, as promised, a few of mine. So picture me as a senior in high school, and I have worked hard for my straight A's, and I don't want to work hard anymore. In fact, I feel totally entitled to take the year off with a bunch of fluff classes. Unfortunately, I miscalculated one thing. Spanish 4 really is an advanced class. And my teacher took herself seriously, and she meant business. So when I got my first test score back, B-, I realized I was either going to have to work really hard or potentially sacrifice the GPA I thought I needed to get into the college of my choice. So what did I do? I got hysterical. I mean, like, you should worry about me kind of crazy. Yeah. I pleaded deep emotional distress to my teacher, my guidance counselor, and my very caring mom. And I convinced these normally by-the-book people that I couldn't cope. I even got a letter from a friend of the family doctor saying, essentially, Spanish was harmful to my health. It worked. My temper tantrum and fake mental breakdown allowed me to drop the class without any record of it ever having been in my life, and no record of that B. Now, here's an interesting twist, because life really does seem to work this way. Years later, I had to go back to that same doctor for real help with real panic attacks, also caused by lying. Here's another one. Just checking we're okay with the lights. Okay. I'm 5 years into my relationship with my now husband, Will, and we're living together. Only he needs to be away occasionally for grad school. Well, one such occasion just happened to coincide with my sexy bad boy ex being in town and needing a place to stay. Did I say needing? You see how easy it is to lie? He grew up in New York City. I think his parents would have let him stay. Yeah, needed it. Anyway, I did not fool around with my ex that night. I didn't technically cheat. So I figured my husband never needed to know. But in doing this work of cleaning up my personal pollution, I realized the power play that is. I didn't technically cheat, but I did lay in bed cuddling with my ex, and I did have a wonderful yearly ritual of getting together with him and getting drunk and flirting my ass off. And I had many ways of justifying why that was innocent, but it wasn't. Here's the lie detector test. I wouldn't have been okay if my husband did any of that with one of his exes. I knew I had to tell. When I finally fessed to my husband, he forgave me. And our relationship got a lot stronger and sexier once I stopped lying about spooning with my ex. Lying and spooning, both stopped. My husband recently reminded me that that conversation was the beginning of building a better foundation for our relationship, and that if I hadn't told, it would have been the beginning of the end. Now, I'm not going to lie, confessing this stuff is hard. But holding on to all the lies, more harmful. So what's the cost of all this lying? Besides your marriage, your sex life, and the future of all your relationships? Well, according to research, lying also hurts your health quite a bit. I see this anecdotally in clients all the time. Following a secret-free diet seems to miraculously clear up a number of major health issues like Crohn's disease, migraines, insomnia, depression, and now science is beginning to back this up also. The APA did a study in which participants were told to stop telling both small and big lies. Like that distinction? Both kinds. Those that did experienced significant improvements in both mental and physical health. Second cost of lying. Hidden thoughts create your reality. How do we know something's real? If we can see it, taste it, hear it, smell it, we know it's real. But we also know that some things are real that we can't perceive with our senses. What we don't seem to realize is that when we think something and believe it and then hide it, it also becomes real. It's the fact of thinking it and hiding it that makes it feel more real. So for example, the more I think sweet notions like, oh, I don't know, that my husband is stupid and doesn't pay attention to me, and then tuck that away, the more I gather evidence for it, prove it, and it grows like mold in the dark in my mind until I conclude I must be right. And see how that justifies innocent spooning with one's ex? That's how that works. Cost number 3. Secrets hide and isolate the real you. So on some level, you and I think it's okay to be good secret keepers. Noble even, as an act of loyalty. We might think we need to hide things in order to protect ourselves or others. But the more we do that, the more we insulate ourselves with our secrets and lose touch with our true selves. We may even begin to wonder if we are worthy of others' acceptance. I have a very sweet friend who was really planning on going to the grave with one particular secret. She had never told her very Catholic father about the abortion she'd had as a young woman. She figured he'd been to seminary. He couldn't handle it. But she wanted to tell him anyway. At the time, he was 80. His compassionate response amazed her. He said to her he wished he could have been there for her at the time. The day after she revealed her secret to him, he called and asked her to listen to his. If you can't be yourself with even those closest to you, how do you expect to ever feel loved? To trust others? To trust yourself? You can't. So what solution am I proposing? It's one I've tried. Clean up your personal pollution. That means copping to every last lie. First, get the joke. If you're omitting things, so are they. Everyone has a lie list. Everyone. Including our parents, especially our parents. Where do you think we got it? Behavioral epigenetics teaches us DNA is passed down, but not just DNA, emotional DNA, behavioral tendencies. This understanding of lineage made it a lot less scary to read my entire lie list to my father. I told him everything. From how embarrassed I was the time he caught me masturbating, to the fact there's more. Let's start with the hardest. From the time that he caught me masturbating to the fact that I pick my nose. And you know what I discovered? Just as you will, he could handle it. And so could I. We're so busy thinking we know what's going to happen if we tell the whole truth. You know why? So we don't have to do it. So we don't have to have faith in humanity that they could not only handle the truth, but forgive it. So much so we miss the realization that it's we who are not forgiving ourselves. That day I sat my dad down was the biggest turning point in my life, a mind shift. When I was done reading the list, he said, "Is that it?" And in that moment, I grew up. I stopped letting fear and shame dictate anything. And I committed to a new kind of relationship with him, but more importantly, with myself. That realization that I could own all of my past and all of who I am without caring what anybody else thought, including myself, that was life-changing. You and I have an amount of misery we can live with. An amount of antidepressants, Ambien, and wine we can swallow in honesty's stead. It's not for me to assign you guilt or push you to blow your cover before it sits right with you. But one thing I know to be true, no matter what, is that love, happiness, and personal pride are on the other side of the truth, and always will be, when you're ready. And if I can do it, you can do it. And our kids can do it. One of the most profound pieces of evidence I have that following a secret-free diet is forever life and history altering came about 6 years ago. My 11-year-old firstborn child, who was assigned female at birth, came to me and said, "Mom, I don't know what I am, but I know I'm not straight." And over the next 6 years, he transitioned into the truest version of himself. He showed us all. He showed us all how to come out as exactly who you are, and kept us updated as his identity evolved, without regard to what anybody thought. He didn't have to lie, hide, or suffer. No one does. Following a secret-free diet allows us to stop feeding each other BS, and allows the next generation the freedom to just be themselves. And don't we owe them that? Don't we all need that? The truth shall set you free. It's age-old wisdom for good reason, because it's true.